Hello, happy crocheters. This is Lindsey from windingyouroadcrochet.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute towel topper for the holidays. For this project, we just need a few items. We are going to be using 2 colors of yarn. These are both worsted weight, medium weight yarn, a number 4 category yarn. I'm using Red Heart Super Saver, but any Category 4 yarn would work just fine. We need about 37 yards of our green and only 6 yards of our other color. I am using a size I 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. We're using just a small 3/4 inch button. And we are also going to use a yarn needle, scissors, and then you're eventually going to need a tea towel. To get started, we're going to make a magic circle, and this is my non-traditional way of doing it. I start by making sure I have about 6 inches of a yarn end, and then we're going to make a slip knot about 6 inches from that yarn end, insert our hook. Since we're working with double crochet, we are going to start by chaining 2. Then we are going to wrap that yarn in around our finger, pull the loop off of your thumb, and then work a double crochet into that loop that we created, making sure you work under 2 strands of yarn. So you can see I have 2 strands of yarn over my hook. Just complete your double crochet and that will secure everything in place. We are going to work a total of 8 double crochet into this loop. Keep in mind that I do not count my turning chain as a stitch. So we'll have the turning chain plus 8 double crochets, and we'll just ignore the turning chain for this pattern. Once we have 8 double crochet worked, we are going to pull on that yarn end to tighten everything up and finish the round by slip stitching into the first double crochet. You are going to create a little more of a cone than a circle. For our next round, we are going to start with a chain 2. Remember that turning chain does not count as a stitch for this pattern. And we are going to work a stitch pattern. We are going to double crochet into the first stitch, and then follow that with an increase or 2 double crochet in the following stitch. We will repeat this stitch pattern 4 times. So again, we are going to double crochet in the next stitch, increase in the following, double, increase, all the way around. Row 1 ended with 8 double crochet. Row 2 or round 2 will end with 12 double crochet. When you make it to the end of round 2, we are just going to slip stitch to the first stitch of the row. And you'll have a little cone creating. Now we're ready to do round 3. For round 3, we are going to chain 2. And for this row, our stitch pattern will be a double crochet, increase. So in the first stitch, we're going to work a double crochet. In the second stitch, we're going to work a double crochet. And in the third stitch, we're going to work 2 double crochets. Then we are going to repeat this a total of 4 times. So this is our first time. We're going to double, double, repeat, increase, double, double, increase, a total of 4 times. So working all the way around. At the end of row 3, you should have a total of 16 stitches. When you reach the end of row 3, simply slip stitch to the very first stitch. Now on to row 4, which is different because in this row we are going to create those little tree notches where the tree comes in a little bit before increasing again. To do this, we are going to be working single crochets this row. So we're going to start with a chain 1. We're going to single crochet into the first stitch. Then we are going to skip 3 stitches. So count out 1, 2, 3, and in the following stitch, we're going to work a single crochet. So that is our first single crochet after skipping stitches, and we've created a little notch here. And now we're going to work 4 more single crochets. So after the skipped stitches, you'll have a total of 5 single crochets. Now, to create another notch on the other side of the tree, we are going to skip 3 more stitches and single crochet into the following stitch after the 3 skipped stitches. So you have 1 single crochet, and then to finish the row, you will work 3 more single crochets. So it'll be a total of 4 single crochets at the end of the row. And then we will slip stitch that to the very first single crochet of the row. So there is 5 single crochets on the back of the tree, 5 on the front, and 3 skip stitches in between. To start row 5, we are going to chain 2. For this row, our stitch pattern will be double crochet in the first stitch and then increase into the next stitch. So work 2 double crochet into our next stitch. And we are going to repeat that all the way around. So we're going to double crochet again and then increase right after it. You're going to do this a total of 5 times. So at the end of the row, we will have a total of 15 double crochet. When you reach the end of the row, we are simply going to slip stitch to the first double crochet. For round 6, we're going to chain 2, and this time we are going to double crochet, then increase. So 1 double crochet, a second double crochet, and then in the next stitch we'll work 2 double crochet into that stitch for an increase. And you're just going to repeat this all the way around your row. So again, it's double crochet, increase. Repeat that a total of 5 times, and you will end up with 20 double crochets at the end of the row. Then at the end of the row, you will just slip stitch to the very first stitch. Now for round 7, we are going to chain 2. We are going to double crochet, then increase. So 3 regular double crochets and then an increase. And we're going to repeat this 4 times and then do something different for the very last repeat. So 1 double crochet, another double crochet, a 3rd double crochet, and then an increase. Then to repeat this, 3 double crochets and an increase. Repeat it a total of 4 times. You will have a few stitches left at the end of your row. When you reach the last 4 stitches of your row, we are going to double crochet, increase, increase. Because we're trying to create the seam so that it's going off to the side. This is happening on purpose. So to do this, we're going to double crochet into the first stitch here, double crochet into the next, increase in the next stitch. So 1 and 2 stitches in this stitch, and then increase in the last stitch. So 1 and 2, and then slip stitch to the very first stitch. And that's the end of round 7. Moving on to round 8, this is the round that we are going to add a loop in the middle of our Christmas tree in order to loop around our towel. So we're going to have a loop coming from one side to the other. This row has 2 parts. To start, we are going to chain 15. Once you have a chain of 15, we are going to count over 13 stitches. So we will skip 13 stitches to get us to the other side of our tree. And then in your 14th stitch, we will slip stitch. So skip 13, slip stitch into the 14th stitch. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to actually work single crochets into the chain that we just created. So just turn your work so you can work back across that chain. Insert your hook into the first chain and create a single crochet, and then single crochet into the next chain and every chain across. So for round 8, part 1, you will have a total of 15 single crochets. So here is the completed part 1. And now we are going to work around our piece, creating the little notches again for part 2 of round 8. We're going to start with a single crochet. Then we are going to skip 4 stitches. And then single crochet into the following 9 stitches. That is our first single crochet, and then we will single crochet in the next 8 stitches for a total of 9 single crochets on this side of these skipped stitches. Once you complete 9 stitches, you'll know that we're bumped up right next to that loop that is in the center of our work. We are going to skip the next 4 stitches. So just move the loop out of your way, pick 4 stitches, skip them, the next 4 stitches, not just any 4 stitches. And then you're going to work another 8 single crochet. Because we started with a single crochet, this 8 single crochet will give us 9 on this side of our tree. So work 8 single crochet stitches that again will take you bumped up next to that loop that we created. Once the 8 single crochet is worked, you are going to slip stitch to the very first single crochet of the row of round 8 part 2. So that will give us the notches on each side. We will have a total of 18 single crochets in part 2 of round 8. We are ignoring that loop that we've created in the middle. We will not work into it at all for the rest of the pattern. To move on to round 9, we are going to chain 2, and we are going to have a stitch pattern of double crochet and then an increase. So double crochet in the first stitch, work 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and then you'll repeat that stitch pattern all the way around. So double crochet, increase, double crochet, increase, double crochet, increase all the way around. When you get completely done, I believe you'll have 27 stitches at the end of this row. When we get to the end of the round, you are just going to slip stitch to the very first stitch. And that is round 9. We have one more round to go and then the loop to create for the top. For round 10, we are going to chain 2. We're going to work a stitch pattern of double, double, increase, double crochet, increase, and work that all the way around. We'll repeat it 9 times total. So double crochet, and then into the next stitch we'll work 2 double crochets, 1 and then 2 into the same stitch, and repeat that stitch pattern all the way around. At the end of this row, you'll have a total of 36 double crochets. When you reach the end of the row, just slip stitch to the very first stitch. There you go. We can fasten off our yarn, and this is a time that if you want to add decorations to this, you absolutely can. I have used like red yarn and made a zigzag pattern on it to make it look like a garland. I've sewn teeny tiny buttons on this to add some decorations, and I've let it just stay plain. So whatever you like works. But now let's make a strap to put at the top to be able to hang this up. For the strap, I'm going to grab a bright colored yarn and make a slip knot, and we're going to begin by chaining 25. When you've complete your 25 chain, we are going to work into the second chain from the hook and single crochet in every chain across. I'm working into the back bumps of the chain, but you can work into the chain in any way that is comfortable for you. When you reach the end of the row, we are going to chain 2, turn our work, and this time we are going to double crochet in every stitch across. We'll have a total of 24 double crochets. You'll notice that I do not make a buttonhole, and that's because I've chosen a button that can actually push between 2 of the double crochet stitches. So that way I can use any space between the stitches as a buttonhole. So simply double crochet across for row 2. When you make it to the end of row 2, we are going to chain 1, turn our work, and then for row 3, we are going to single crochet in every stitch across. And that will be it for our strap. When we reach the end of row 3, we are going to clip our yarn, leaving a long yarn end because we will use this to sew both our button to our strap and our strap to the towel topper. But first, we're going to go ahead and weave in our ends on our towel topper. Just take your yarn in, thread it through a needle. I like to go down through one of the double crochets until I'm at the bottom of the stitch. And then working through the bottom of a few stitches, I'm going to weave this yarn in back and forth about 3 times. So now that that is out of the way, we are going to add our strap. And I actually did this wrong in the video, but what we're going to do is we're going to use both of those yarn ends. We're going to use one to sew the strap to the top of our towel topper, and then we're going to use the other one to sew the button onto the strap. If I had figured it out and done it right, what I would have done is sewn the button on first, but you'll see how I fixed it. So all we're going to do is take that one yarn in, hold our strap in place, and just whip stitch that strap to our towel topper. So there it is, just takes a few stitches. And then to secure this really well, I am going to knot my 2 yarn ends together. And at this point, I'm going to weave them in, and that was a bad choice. So I'm going to actually weave these in, and you do want to weave in your yarn ends when you're completely done, but I could have used these yarn ends to sew my button onto my strap. For whatever reason, I thought I was putting my button on the opposite side of the strap. So I'm going to weave these in and have to get a new piece of yarn in order to sew on my button. So after I realized my mistake, I'm grabbing a new strand of yarn, and we're going to use this strand of yarn to sew a button directly above the place where we attached the strap to our towel topper. So I'm just going to the back of this strap, finding my button. I'm going to work through at least 2 double crochet stitches. That's going to make this a lot more secure. And I am just going to work up and down a few times through this button, sewing it in place, and then I'll knot it on the back side. And there you have it. Your project is done. Again, you can add buttons to this or a little garland around it. That's great. I'm just going to push that button between 2 of the double crochet stitches to create a loop. And that is how you would hang the towel topper. And then now, let me show you how to add your towel to your towel topper. So if you remember the loop in the middle of our towel topper, our towel is going to go around that, and all we need to do is take one side of the towel and kind of roll it up or fold it up a bit so that it is small enough to go through that loop. Pull our towel until that loop is in the middle of the length of the towel, and then fold it in half. And now you have your towel with a little towel topper on top. And this just kind of helps keeps it in place. You can button or loop this around your refrigerator door or your oven doors where my grandma always kept them. You can spread out the towel a little bit if you like. But there you have it. That is your cute little Christmas tree towel topper. I hope you liked the video tutorial. And if you like my tutorials, make sure to check out my other videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching.